The way this panel is going to work is I'm going to introduce each of the panelists. They will have 5 minutes to talk about what they are doing at their club, and we'll have an additional 2 minutes for fellow panelists to pick their brains. As this is going on, we will be posting a link in the chat to a Google form where you can ask the deepest, darkest, the best, most interesting questions of the panelists so that we can answer it during our later Q&A period. I'll be doing a more detailed introduction of each of the panelists as they pop up. But with that being said, let's hear what some of the best and brightest in our community have to say about what they've been doing with their clubs. The first president I would like to introduce is my good friend, David Mells. David is the president of Night Vision Toastmasters, and I have had the distinct privilege of going and visiting their meetings. If you want a community feel to your club, they are most welcoming. David, please welcome to the stage.
If David could speak, I can spotlight him.
Thank you, Carol. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Dignitaries, district officials, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. It gives me great pleasure and an honor to be part of this panel discussion, and I really wanted to thank Ryan and the District 96 Organizing Committee for inviting Night Vision to be a part of this experience today.
Thank you.
When we came out of COVID, or let me take a step back. COVID brought to us a lot of interesting things. And if we look at COVID, we can look at it from a half full or half empty perspective. And when I see where Night Vision has come from, it came from those formative years to be where it's at today. And Paul, thank you very much for showing that Night Vision is in that green column or row. And it really touches my heart to see how, as Ryan said, the family of Night Vision has produced the results that it has. But you're seeing the results today, but everything started a couple of years ago. And if you would let me this opportunity, I'm going to just briefly talk about that. Coming out of COVID, Night Vision, led by our fearless leader, Jenny Chan, actually created a brainstorming session. We had an in-city brainstorming session to really say, who are we? What's our identity? Where are we going to go? What outcomes do we want to achieve? What do we want to create to be a standing organization in the community? And this is where our club mission really revolves around three things: learning, developing, and creating self-worth in those individuals. So the structure, as we all appreciate, is Toastmasters. But what's the feel? What's the identity? And we chose the identity to be a family that welcomes everybody as a community, but a family that welcomes all to be who they are, because learning is a communal experience. Even though each individual grows, it's the collective energy, the collective feedback, the collective experience that helps the people grow. So how did we do this? We first took a step back and said, what do we want to achieve? We wanted to create an identity, which I said. We wanted to create an environment that everybody's welcome. But once everybody's in, we have to create a structure that is going to be very consistent, constructive, allows for creativity, allows people to just be themselves, and through a very consistent, nurturing way, allows people to progress either personally or professionally. We all know with the new pathway system, we can all work on the 300 plus competencies that are instilled in the pathway. Even though there's 11 pathways programs, there are many ways to do that. So when a guest arrives at our club, the first thing we do is greet them. Paul said, no clubs left behind. Well, we believe no guests are left behind. So we have a touch point system. We make sure that all the executive that are present in the meeting greet the individual and welcome into the club. We also make sure that they know who the VP Ed is and the VP membership and the VP PR. Once the person has become a member, we have an official onboarding process that explains the pathway system, that explains how night vision operates, and that demonstrates what to expect. Keep that word expect in mind for a second. I'll come back to it. Over the years, we've also learned that we can't grow without feedback. So everybody presents, but everybody gives feedback. And we make sure that the feedback is very inclusive and it's a learning experience for everybody. We have our regular speeches. We have specific roles that are unique to our club. And I have to say that one of them in specific, we have that's called Discover What You Can't See, that is unique to night vision. What does that mean? We all come into Toastmasters with a specific goal objective. But you know what? There are things that we realize that we've achieved that we didn't know. So we invite our members to share what that is, to share the new transformations or the new learnings or the new developments that they didn't expect that they were going to learn or that they wanted to achieve at the beginning. Again, this is a way for people to see progress, become a walking testimonial, and to really demonstrate how it feels to be a family. So I'd like to leave you by this one little phrase from Sister Sledge. We are a family. I got all my members and me. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, David. We now have 2 minutes to hear from other panelists who wish to pick David's brain. Feel free to jump in, opening your audio, panelists, and we can ask. Otherwise, post me directly in the chat.
David.
I have a question for David, though.
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Here it is. Why is your club so welcoming? Why does it feel so cool when you walk in? Like I felt like it was a big hug. How did you achieve that?
Hugs are innately born within the human experience. And we really embrace it, first of all, with a smile. Second of all, if warranted, a handshake. And thirdly, is when we repeat a person's name and we actually look at them in the eye, guess what happens? We're hugging them physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And to me, that's what a family's about.
Thank you very much, David. Seeing no other questions from fellow panelists, we will move on to our next president. Let me give a bit of an intro to our special guest, Joanne Morrison. A very long time ago, in a land far, far away, lived a woman with 3 kids, a nice husband, and a cat. The woman worked and desperately needed a night out, like so many do, myself included. So she joined Surrey Toastmasters. In 5 months, she was the VP of Education, and her club became, well, that's a story for her to tell. It felt right. The kids, the husband, the cat, and the woman were all happier. I think that was cat. The woman, 35 years later, still in Toastmasters with something to learn every evening. Welcome, Joanne Morrison, DTM and past District Governor of District 21. Joanne, tell us a little bit about North Vancouver Toastmasters Club.
Thank you, Ryan. What a wonderful introduction that I wrote myself. Anyway, David, you've made me feel a little bit inadequate, and it's interesting we have the same NVT in our name, so maybe there's a connection there somewhere. October 7th, we had 7 members. Not a viable club. And this club had struggled for a long time, and I felt one of the problems was our name. We were called Speaker Hub Toastmasters. The nearest club to us was called Friendship Toastmasters. Now, if you were scared of talking to other people in public, as many people are when they join Toastmasters, which one would you join, Friendship or Speaker Hub? So we changed our name to North Vancouver Toastmasters, which gave us an unexpected, I guess, because I'm not as forward-thinking as David, an advantage. If you're going to join North Van Toastmasters, it sounds like we're the hub of all things Toastmasters on the North Shore. So now when people contact us, we always tell them about Friendship Toastmasters and also key speakers, so that they know there's a club also, not just on Wednesday night, which is us, but also on Tuesday and Monday nights. But when people come to our club, it's personal. And David talked about the personal connection. I'm not nearly as organized as people who plan out everything, but I know a lot about personal connection. And people came to our club, but we didn't have members, and we were meeting on Zoom and in person, and it was messy, and we're not good at it. And so it seemed that it would be a good idea to meet only in person. And as soon as we did that, we started to grow, and we would get 5 and 6 guests. And a lot of people in the North Shore are from other places in the world, and they're looking for a place to practice English. A lot of them have a big vocabulary, but as one person told me, it's not like in my home country where I have 3 words for something, I only have 1 here. I talked before to a speech therapist who said it's easy to fix sounds. They're in your mouth. Babies have all of them. And so I have an idea how to help people, and I tell others how to do this, which is look for the sound in your mouth and let's practice. And I'll maybe ask members who are not always easily understood if it's okay if I find a word a week. And people generally say yes. We've had a lot of changes since the beginning of the year. We have a new VP Ed, a new VP Membership, a new VP PR, and a new Sergeant at Arms. And recently our treasurer moved back home to the Maritimes. So that leaves us with a secretary and me, the president. I'm getting kind of tired. And I'm starting to think, is it my fault? But no, people have new lives to lead. Our VP PR moved to Vancouver. Our VP Ed, it was a bit too much for him, I think, too early for him. And he has a baby. And anyway, lots of stories. I think it's really important to connect with guests, to say, we're new members, we're longtime members. We all come from different backgrounds. It's okay to not be the same as other people. All of us are drawn to and learn different things. We're different people, so we'll learn different things. I think it's really important for people to be seen. So when we give feedback in Toastmasters, we're seeing the person. We're hearing what they say. We can see what's important to them. I remember one person who everything in her life was about her work because she loved it so much. And that's not my world. I loved my work, but it was about people. It was customer service and it was sales. Anyway, I'm really pleased with where we are now. We're on paper 29 members. Some have moved away, obviously, but we're doing pretty good and we're still getting lots of guests. The North Shore has a lot of people from different countries, and so it's interesting.
Thank you, Joanne. We have 2 minutes for questions from other panelists. Let's see what we can learn from Joanne's experiences on the North Shore. Do we have any questions?
Ryan, may I ask a question to Joanne?
Go right ahead, David.
So Joanne, what is your term for the officers? Is it 6 months or 12 months?
We have a 6-month term. So, you know, expecting change. I know the district kind of doesn't like it. Don't listen to me. Oh. But it means that the person who takes over gets credit. And I think a lot of people don't seem to care about the credit until they've started doing the work. And then they're like, yeah, like I'm learning things, I'm doing new things, and I feel the value of being on the executive. So I want to take the credit for this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, David and Joanne. Our next panelist is a VP of membership who somehow managed to sneak in, but we are glad to have her. This would be Tiffany Mark from Metro Speakers Club. Let me tell you the motto of this club, because I find it pretty interesting. They wish to transform lives by giving members fun and friendly places and a stage where they can practice their public speaking. I'm picturing like a 6-foot raised platform, polished whatever. Is that the vision that I should be having in my head, Tiffany?
Anything can be a stage, Ryan. I'm going to share my screen with everyone. Oh. Can you see the membership growth screen here?
Yes, indeed, Tiffany.
Okay. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Do you remember the first time you were at a Toastmasters meeting? I remember. Mine was online. My hands were shaking. They were cold and clammy. I was very anxious. I didn't know whether to keep my video on or turn it off. But then I decided to click the join button. And what greeted me was a grid of very warm smiles. The greeter said hi. They addressed me by my name. The VP of membership at the time sent me a message and welcomed me. He followed up with an email. It made me feel very welcome. You might be wondering, what secret am I going to tell you today about membership growth? The truth is, I'm really here to reinforce what Toastmasters is all about, because what helped Metro speakers grow and maintain President's Distinguished over the past 2 decades is simply club experience and culture. Before I went to that first meeting, I felt it was really easy for me to visit as a guest. I remember signing up on Toastmasters.org. It wasn't Metro Speakers at first. I contacted another club and I never heard back for a few weeks, and I still never heard back. I was very disappointed. It might sound silly to you, but it took a lot of courage for me to go online, send someone a message, admit that I have a fear of public speaking, and that I needed help. So the next club I contacted was Metro Speakers. They had a very welcoming website. They had information on how to join a meeting, and you can join anytime, any Thursday. They gave us instructions to come early for 10 minutes to get acquainted with everyone. All you had to do was show up. Showing up means that you get to see familiar faces, people who knew you by your name, that you could go up on stage and practice public speaking, mess up, and still when you come back down, they would give you a pat on the back and said, well done. Look forward to your next one. It was very encouraging. And this is the Toastmaster experience that I'm talking about. This is the recent survey that we took from our club. And asked our club members, why did you choose Metro speakers? What makes you keep coming back? The first response was a convenient location. We're at Metrotown, a mall that is very accessible. But following that are things that add to the club experience: a supportive culture, a dynamic energy, and friendly members. What's it look like? When you Google us, you'll see on the right-hand side a Google business profile. It shows 67 Google reviews, 5-star reviews. There's a link to our website, a link to directions, Google Maps. But on our website, you actually will find a video of how to get to our meeting place. This is because not many people know that there are community rooms above the retail stores. During the meeting, we'll have a greeter, and then they'll tell them that there is a QR code that you can scan to find our agenda, to learn more about Toastmasters, and frequently ask questions. After the meeting, I will collect their emails and send them a thank you message. I will tell them what their next steps are if they wanted to join us. And after they've been through the whole meeting, they will have experienced something that I'm sure all of you have experienced: hope that we can be better public speakers. So the key takeaway from Metro Speakers is that you want to make the Toastmasters experience easy, inclusive, and fun. Then your membership will grow.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. That was a wonderful slideshow. I love that. I think I might have to steal a couple ideas off of that one. But thank you for the inspiration. Would any of the fellow panelists want to follow up with Tiffany about questions about Metro speakers?
I know I only covered a very little bit of it. I wanted to talk about leadership, a lot of the things both Joanne mentioned and Dan mentioned too, that there's is about building the family. So I think a lot of it is about building that family, making everyone feel welcomed.
Now, my actual question is this, and I found this at my club. The people who talk 10 minutes before and stay around to talk for 5 minutes after have about a 75% retention rate. What do you guys find?
Yes, definitely. People who come early want to know more, and people who stay, they're ready to convert. So you got to be there, answer all their questions, and make them sign that membership form.
I believe there's one question. We have a hand raised.
Is it from a panelist?
No.
It looks to be Mustafa.
That is not a panelist. So I'll ask Mustafa to put his question in the chat for now. Sorry, on the Google form in the chat for now. All right. Up next, we have our next panelist. Perhaps the president of the most venerable club in all of BC. In fact, I think the oldest club on the mainland. Please help me welcome Matthew Rosso of Vancouver Toastmasters, aka Club 59, aka where it's happening on Monday nights. Let me give you a bit of a lead-in for Matthew. The vision of his club is to develop a strong base membership that feels engaged, is in their personal growth, and are consistently involved in the club for years to come. And this is an important point. If you ever visit his club, there are many, many members who have been there generationally. Matthew, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm the president of Club 59 and also the area director for Area 23. I first joined my club back in 2019, like November 2019, and it's been a wonderful experience ever since. So let me tell you a little bit of background. The way I see what makes a great club and a club successful is, first, you have to have a great club. And second, you need to find good leads. So let's go back and start with what I believe makes a great club. For starters, culture. Culture is critical. It's that community experience. It's what makes people feel welcome. The second piece is training and development of both your executive team and the membership. And all that ties in to create great customer service, or service to our members and service to our guests. My story, when I first was looking for a Toastmasters club, I was trying to find a place to develop myself. I work in sales, and I wanted a place to develop myself further, and I needed a place to practice. I enjoyed giving presentation speeches when I was in university. I felt like I got rusty. When I first came to the club and gave the table topics, it was horrible. I was not used to talking about myself, answering questions, personal questions. So my heart was pounding, and I think I only spoke for like 58 seconds. I didn't even make the green light. But still, I got feedback, got positive feedback. I felt like I accomplished something, and it made me want to come back. And when I came back, I got to learn more about the culture. There's people who've been at our club for many years, like Ryan said, most notably Doug Anderson. Doug Anderson has been with our club for 52 years, 5-2. That's a long time. He's there every single meeting. He never misses a meeting except for very good reasons. He's always there in a suit and tie, and he'll participate if you ask him to. He's a pillar of our community, and so are many other people who've been there for 10, 20 years or more. You have people who come in as guests that they've been part of our club before, and it gives a sense of community when you have people that are so invested into the club. And the way I kind of see how people find that that sense of belonging, or that sense of wanting to stick around. First, people come in, they want control over their own destiny. They want to develop. So having that sense of control over their destiny is that first like metric of happiness. And then they get to the second one, they feel like they're making progress. There's a sense of progress. They stick around when they feel connected with people. I stuck around because I felt like I was making friends. I was making genuine connections with people, and I'm feeling more and more motivated to stick around with Toastmasters because I'm connected with all of you. Well, Ryan, last year, he came to our club, and he started this whole trend about us, many clubs hanging out and spending time together, and that reinforces that sense of connectedness, that sense of community. And that brings me to my last point about building on happiness and building that community, is feeling like you're part of something bigger than yourself. And I think everybody here right now, part of that reason why they stick around with Toastmasters for so long is beyond that personal development, beyond that sense of connectedness. It's that feeling of being part of something bigger. You're making a real, genuine impact. And that all ties into that culture. And when I wanted to get more and more involved, and when I became part of the executive team, I didn't feel like I was alone. I felt like people were there to help me get better at what I do. And in turn, that helped me help others and give that great customer service that our guests and our members need to want to come to our club. Now, how do we grow that membership? We have, I don't know how we do it. We have like 12, sometimes 18 guests every single meeting. It's the past year has been incredible having all those guests. And at that foundation is that culture, that customer service. And then there's finding good leads. Melody came to the Night Vision Toastmasters Club to give a speech about what good public relations is for for Toastmasters, and her strongest point was word of mouth is the most effective thing. It is, but to elevate that, you have to actively seek it out, ask people, get everybody as part of your club. Hey, is there anybody that you can invite to our club and come check us out? Invite people, bring people in. And the other important piece is don't be afraid to ask people to join. People love that. Hey, oh, you want me to join? It feels good to be asked to join an organization, a club.
Matthew, we are being
Yes.
flashed by the timer. So
All right.
we'll stop you there, but thank you so much.
Well, yeah.
We'll open it up to the panel. Would anyone like to ask Matthew a question? And remember, other viewers, please put your questions in the Google Forms, which is in the chat. So Matthew, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You failed to mention the greatest community service that your club performs. I hear it's called the King's something, and you do it after every meeting. What's it called there, Matthew?
Toasty Toasty.
Toasty Toasty.
Yeah.
I had the benefit of actually attending one of these, and the great table is great for conversation. Would you recommend more people get great tables nearby to their club?
I think it's a wonderful experience. It's Toasty Toasty is where we meet up after the meeting. We go to a bar and we share stories. We talk. We communicate with each other. We connect on a deeper level. The club, the meetings, that's where we go to develop ourselves, get some feedback. But afterwards, that's where you develop that relationship. That's where you really elevate the sense of community. And I think that's one of our big success factor. And every week we have a great turnout. I mean, the lowest week we have 6 people, but some weeks we have 12, 15, 16 people who come to Toasty Toasties, and friendships are made, lessons are learned, and members are acquired through that.
I would highly recommend, if you ever get the chance to go out and visit Club 59, hang around with them afterwards. It's a lovely experience. Thank you, Matthew.
You're welcome.
Up next, our final panelist, Ken Bell of Burrard Toastmasters. Let me tell you a little bit about Ken and his club. I'm going to jump in because I think this is a good starting point. Sorry, Ken. To move with effortless grace through challenging business situations. That's a tagline for a business club right there. Ken says that constant bullying and humiliation in his teenage years left him in his 20s with an intense shame and profound social anxiety. Before resorting to medication, though, he sought out, at the suggestion of his doctors, Toastmasters. And Burrard Toastmasters changed his life 38 years ago. He says this is his 4th time as club president, and that he has also been a member and served on the executive of several other fantastic clubs, including Advanced Leaders, Speakers with Confidence, and Speakers Advantage. Please welcome to the stage, Ken Bell.
Well, gosh, shucks, heck. Thanks for your hard work, Ryan, in organizing the panel. Burrard was founded in 1958, and it's one of the more heavily varnished clubs in the city. Even the name Burrard sounds old and hoary and traditional. Our goal at Burrard is to prepare people for the boardroom. And we want, as Ryan said, to have people learn how to move with effortless grace through any challenging business situation. And when I was thinking about membership, the first thing I have to think about is that people coming in the door are more or less terrified of public speaking. And that's the main thing to keep in mind, is how to create a safe place. I think many of the members here will be familiar with something called moments of truth, but the journey from being a guest to being a DTM consists of a number of decisions. And the first decision is, do I like these people? And Am I going to stay? Am I going to give a speech? The evaluation of my speech determines whether I'm going to give another speech. And at certain points in the journey, there's all these decisions to be made, and so you want to keep a context where those decisions are easy and towards the direction of a DTM. As a president, I tend to focus on the contents of the cereal box rather than on the label of the box. But I think I saw a great example from Metro Speakers PR there. You go, is this a club I want to join? You know, the club says, here's how to join. That's beautiful. Our website is as good as that. Then when you show up at your first meeting, you go, is this a safe place? Is this a fun place? And then, is this a professional place? And there's a real difference between meetings that are organized and meetings which are disorganized. And there's also, and Doug Anderson does this in Club 59, there's something called modeling. When you show how to lead, people go, oh, I'm actually learning here. And if you can show how to lead with humor and engagement and positive energy, then people go, you know, this is actually a fun place. I could learn something here. It's interesting. Club 59 pointed out that it feels good to be asked to join. At Burrard, we had a kind of a tradition where we never actually ask anybody to join. We don't bend their arms to get them to join. We're not brandishing membership forms. What we would like to do is invite our guests to check us out, check out other clubs. We want you to be comfortable that this is your best choice. And then when somebody decides to join, or when somebody expresses interest in coming to the meeting, you have to react right away. The Vice President of Public Relations has to answer that email right away. And then when somebody wants to join, the Vice President of Membership, when I was Vice President of Membership last year, basically I'd go, here's the application. And by the way, here's a link to District 4 Toastmasters. You can see what the Pathways program is about, because the Toastmaster site is somewhat opaque. And then as soon as their membership's approved, I schedule a Zoom meeting where I walk the new guest through, or the new member through, let's choose your pathway now. Just a couple things about safety. We've had some very challenging people walk in our door. Some of them, I'll just be blunt, they had mental health issues. Some of them had difficulty holding the moment, if you will, and we welcomed them. And for some of them, it gave a big change in their life. And part of that is focusing on kind evaluation. So we do a lot of workshops within the club on how to evaluate. And then finally, this notion of referrals. I know we go, oh, go ask people to join the club, go out there. But if you're not proud of your club, it's hard to ask people. But if you are proud of your club, if you know you have the best product around, it's easy to say, oh, no, come check this out. You know, you're not going to find anything better in the city. Now, there are some very, very good clubs in the city, but we ourselves also have to have a lot of pride in what we do. And if you're proud of the club you belong to, it's no problem to ask other people. It's no problem to come back. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ken. Do any of the panelists have any follow-up questions for Ken?
Ryan, I have one for Ken, if I may.
Go
Ken,
right
thank you
ahead.
very much for your presentation. And you referred to the concept of modeling that is exercised by Doug in Club 59. Do you have anything similar to that in your club, or do you do anything related to like mentorship?
We definitely have mentorship, and what we try to do, I guess, I'm kind of the model in our club. I'm the Doug Anderson of Burrard, and we have a second club member who's been there for 20 years, and he's a very good model. His name's Nam Fan, and we have some people who've been around for 10 and 5 to 10 years. And again, I guess Burrard, the tradition, it seeps into us. So we're all sort of modeling how to have a really good business meeting. And so the mentorship, for the brand new members, they sort of pick it up by osmosis within about a year of attending club meetings. They sort of know how to run a meeting. And then, you know, in terms of mentoring, we had a mentoring program, but then under Pathways, you have to get up to the end of level 2 before you can be a mentor. And now it's sort of like, if anybody wants advice, you certainly just come to any member of the senior team. We are so happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to you both. We're changing gears. We are switching to the portion of our panel where we are going to be diving into what the guests have been asking. And we would remind everyone to make use of the Google Forms link, which you can find in the chat. We'll jump through what we see there. We might actually brainstorm a couple others. Timer, keep us honest. But here we go. The whole panel. Are you ready, folks? What's with this social media business? Does it actually work? What social media platforms do you use? And what sort of hit retention do you generate? Now, while the panelists are thinking, I can actually give a bit of a pat answer to this. We are Instagram heavy. Instagram is our thing. And one of the things which we've been trying to get Toastmasters to do, our chairs, is to give a 30-second lead into each meeting. So we can actually see what's coming up and the guests can see it too. It's amazing because it gives the member the opportunity to actually have a presence online, to share themselves, and people are excited because suddenly the Toastmaster is like a mini celebrity. So Instagram and Reels are important to my club. Other panelists.
We did a survey where actually whenever a member joins our club, we ask the question, how did you hear about us? And invariably about 40 to 50% is through word of mouth. So that old WAM still works like a ticker. Never ceases to amaze anybody. The other way that about 45% of our members heard about us is through Google. So we officially are not active in social media. However, we're starting to address that and become a bit more proactive. We have our VPPR, Christine Harris. I don't think she's on online today, but she's done a remarkable job of updating our website. Now we've got utilizing LinkedIn, and we're going to become more active in that. And then Eventbrite, and there's one other platform I'm missing. But really, that has not been a big part of us. We've relied on the word of mouth because that walking testimony is huge. And if people can see the result, then social media would become a secondary.
For North Van Toastmasters, it's not my level of any kind of expertise. So having a really good VPPR is really important. Our new VPPR is still training, but has some good level of skill, so we'll be fine. We get a lot of referrals through Toastmasters. If people hear about Toastmasters, they look up Toastmasters, and then we get notes from Toastmasters International and other places. And Ken, it's so good to see you. You were looking marvelous.
I'll add a little bit to the social media part. I was the VPPR last year, so we did a lot of Instagram posts, but like what David said, most of our guests come through Googling us or through word of mouth. But I like to think of social media as the second touch point that they look at before they decide which club to join. Because we actually do a lot of different themes. We have a lot of outdoor activities. And one member told me that they joined because they want the extra social activities outside of Toastmasters. And so that social component is very important. Yeah.
I was going to say that our cornerstones, I think, are our website and Google, and I think the social media aspect, which I don't know that much about, but it seems when there's constant posts in social medias, it gives the impression that the club is active and current, and it's a subliminal kind of sense that the club is lively, but the real induction schemes are through Google and our website. And also good to see Joanne. Joanne and I were on Speaker's Advantage together, a very wonderful club.
Yeah, I think it's really important that whatever platform you use, if you can answer within 2 days, then people don't feel forgotten. So Yeah.
Yeah, for my club, I think it's just making it easy to find. You know, we Google Toastmasters, and one of the first clubs you find is our club. We're available on many social media. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, and we're also on meetups. A lot of people find us through that. But the thing that works the most, again, is what everybody's been saying, the word of mouth, and also having people invite other people. Come and see our club, come check us out. I bring some of my friends, everybody on the executive club invite some of their friends, and even members, dedicated members, they invite their friends. And I just want to elaborate a little bit more on the whole thing about asking people to join. I don't want people to think it's like a hard sell. You're not hard selling. People don't like to be sold to; they like to buy. So,
I think if you don't ask, then people could go away thinking, oh, maybe they don't want me. Maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not the right person. So asking, I think, is important.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to transition us onto another conglomeration of questions. So apologize if I don't ask people specific questions, but I'm looking for broader themes. So hopefully we can touch on what it is you're asking about. We've been talking about getting people to the club. How do we create communities in the club that lead to members creating connections that last and go beyond our nightly meetings? So how do we create the community, connect the members, and get them to go beyond our clubs?
I can say a little bit about that. For our club, our main communication between members is actually WhatsApp. That's where we post our weekly themes and ask people to sign up for roles. If we have activities, that's what we use. If there are new members, we introduce them on WhatsApp as well as at the meetings. And that's been really working well for us. We have WhatsApp groups for different activities. We even started a book club. And the exec team has their own WhatsApp group. So it really helps to have everything all in one place where we can quickly have answers from everyone.
We went strictly in person, and the tell for me is people are coming early because they like each other and they want to be there, and they're hanging around for quite a while afterwards. So we're all in person. Fortunately, our members all live on the North Shore, so it really makes sense.
I'll jump in on this one as well. Creating connections in the club is important, particularly because if you don't make your club its own best advertisement, there's almost nothing you can do to make people stick around. A quasi-initiative I created was creating a secret service, a series of helpful members who are given tasks, but tasks which nobody else knows about besides the executive. Because what we found is that when the executive were in the room, people would point people towards us and be like, yeah, go talk with them, instead of come and talk with us. We are a cool community. And so each of these Secret Service members would have a card with a directive, and it would just be a phrase: connector of people, realizer of potential, finder of people in need. And they would not introduce themselves as having an official role. They would just be present. And in creating this, we found that suddenly everybody knows a little bit about everybody else in the club. And as entrepreneurs, this is important because we actively want businesses to be forming around our membership. And so sometimes you just have to empower people to go and try things and be on the sly about it, simply because as soon as an authority is pointed to, it's suddenly the authority's job to deal with it. But as a community, we should be thinking about us. And if we can, we will be our best advertisement. All right, next question. We actually have a bit of a differentiated question here. How do you go about going from 8 members, 15 members, 20 members in attendance? What are the differences in terms of getting those people in the room? and actually getting that growth?
I'm going to jump in here because I actually have to go in about a minute. When I was working with a club in District 21, it was called Speak with Confidence. And when I joined, we had 5 members. And so you'd come out to a meeting and you would, pretty much do every role or every third role. And this is where the modeling came in, because people would walk in and they'd have no idea of what public speaking was. And there's a friendly group, a small group, friendly group, but they're showing how to do everything. And then you go, okay, I can learn this. And I think in a smaller club, if we can get some of our more senior members in the district and stuff like that, to maybe, like, the club coach usually sits down and says, oh, what are your goals and all these things. If the club coach or an experienced speaker can work with a small club to develop that seasoning, so that somebody walks in and goes, oh, okay, I know how to do this, then I think that's a lot, that provides more mass for people to stick to. And when you get to 8, then getting to 12, getting from 5 to 8 is hard. Getting from 8 to 12 is hard, but not as hard. Getting from 12 to 20 is doable. Getting from 20 to 40, not that hard, actually. And I got 2 pages of notes from everybody. Good tips, all. And I apologize, I have to run away now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ken. I look forward to coming and visiting your club someday. Other panelists, same question. How do things change as you grow? How do you get people to stay in the room?
For our club, what we found, again, through feedback and talking to our members, is that nurturing aspect of it, whether it's through a formal mentorship or whether it's through modeling, i.e. Club 59, but really listening to what the members are asking and then being able to create the culture and the construct in order for them to achieve their specific goals within the Toastmasters structure. I believe that this new approach of pathway, having 300 competencies that people can strive for, gives a greater range of possibilities. Robert Schuller in the olden evangelists used to say possibility thinking. And really that's what we're creating in the club. And as the meetings demonstrate how people can achieve these possibilities, then it becomes infectious, and then other people see it vis-a-vis friends coming in or people coming in from the different platforms. And the underlying theme there has to be consistency. And Joanne alluded to it earlier, is that if you can have people coming in, they can enjoy it, but if you don't have that consistency, then that flavor dissipates with time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think one way to honor the members is the room is set up well. It looks good. You have the right things for guests, some information, and talk to them. Like, ask them questions. Why are you here? What do you hope to learn? What are your fears? And when you put the real questions to people, they don't want to answer, but they do. And then you know why they're there. But I think it really breaks the ice for them. And then they're more comfortable. They're seen as a person rather than just a number.
All right. And with that, that's actually the end of our panel, folks. First off, let me thank you all for sharing your advice, your insights, and being here today. I know I find that being an executive member just within a club can feel very isolating because we're the only ones there. Whereas when we can reach out and touch base with each other, visit one another's clubs, go to the after party and the social and see what other clubs do. It's an amazing experience, and it helps bring us together. And if we can bring ourselves together, we can bring other people to us too. So I hope what we've talked about today will help us and help you with your club growth. And here's the super secret sauce. We actually created a resource for everybody to check out. And it is still available to panelists to have things dropped in. I will go and find my cards, which I actually have the template for, but I'm not sure if it's on this computer, so check back later. But I'm putting that in the chat just right now. So thank you, everyone, and we would like to turn it back over to the meeting chair.
Thank you very much, Ryan. I'm going to keep you spotlighted right now because I forgot to mention why these clubs were singled out in the first place. And the reason that Vancouver Entrepreneurs, Metro Speakers, Vancouver Toastmasters Club, Burrard Toastmasters, Night Vision, and North Vancouver is because these clubs have grown their memberships by 10 or more members. And I was given that information by our district director. Now, there may be more clubs out there that did that as well, but this is the information that I had received probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I was excited to have the panelists share with us their strategies for growing membership. I want to especially thank Ryan Spencer for being our panelist moderator. I thought he did an excellent job, a lot of hard work, and I want to thank all our panelists today. Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing us to record this session as well. I learned quite a bit. Like David said, a few of things, I think we're a little bit ahead of time, but all the club from David Mells, all club officers greet guests. We don't do that at our club. We have a special greeter greeting them, but what a great idea to have our executive greet the guest as well. I really like that. Joanne, building relationships. Tiffany, I like that club survey. It's kind of a short moments of truth, but I like that club survey and the QR code for the agenda. Matthew, having Huggy Duggy in your club is something quite special. 52-year Toastmaster. I like the word of mouth. I don't know if you had an opportunity to hear our international director, our international president, and our immediate past international president. They had a little message for us. And one of the biggest thing that came out of that was word of mouth is the best advertising. And then going to the bar after the meeting or just going somewhere after the meeting and socializing. That was from Club 59. Burrard Toastmaster, prepare people for the boardroom. Answer emails right away. I know when we get submissions, I'm the president of my club, and the VP of membership is in charge of responding to emails, and I keep an eye on it because we need to respond quickly. And also schedule a Zoom meeting with your new member and walk them through pathways and get them to choose a path. That was impressive. I would have loved to have heard from Ryan as another club that gained membership, more than 10 members, Vancouver Entrepreneurs. But we ran out of time, but he gave us some great tips as well. So I am so appreciative for everyone here. Thank you very much. And now we'll actually move on to the next part. Actually, we have the next session is at 10:45. So why don't we call a quick break for everybody? And please be back for our keynote speaker on the Canva workshop. So let's take a quick break, and then Melody will call us back at 10:45. Thank you very much, everyone.